Good morning, students. Today, now in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the user interface design. That is, the interface on which the user performs his activities. What are the characteristics that are required to declare that it is a good interface, and all those that we are going to discuss here. So, first of all, what is an interface? An interface is a platform where the user performs his activities for using any application. What are the characteristics that are required for a good interface design are speed of learning. A good user interface should be easy to learn. Speed of learning is hampered by a complex syntax and semantics of the command issue procedures. The following are the three issues for the speed of learning. Use of metaphors and intuitive command names. The speed of learning an interface is greatly facilitated if these are based on some day-to-day real-life examples, some physical objects with which the users are familiar with. Consistency. Once a user learns about a command, he should be able to use a similar commands in different circumstances for carrying out those similar actions. Component-based interface. Users can learn an interface faster if the interaction style of the interface is very simple to the interface or other applications with which the users are already familiar with. Speed of use. The next characteristic of good interface design is speed of use. Speed of use of an user interface is determined by the time the user effort necessary to initiate and execute different commands. Speed of recall, which means that the users learn how to use an interface. The speed with which they can recall the command issue procedures should be maximized. Error prevention. A good user interface should be in such a way that it should minimize the scope of committing errors while initiating different commands. Aesthetic and attractive. A good user interface should be attractive to use and eye-catchy for a customer to use the interface and also to grab the attention of a customer. Feedback. A good user interface must provide feedback on various actions that are performed, especially if any user requests for more than few seconds to process. The user should be informed about the state of processing his request. Support for multiple skills. A good user interface should support for multiple skills, sophistication of command issue procedures for different categories of users. This is necessary because the users with different levels of experience might be using the applications, so they might prefer different types of user interfaces. Error recovery. While performing commands or while issuing commands, even the expert users can commit some mistakes. So, definitely a good user interface should have a characteristic of performing an action again, which means undo, to correct his mistakes. The next one will be the user guidelines and online help. Users might sometimes forget or even they might be new to the software. In such situations, it is necessary to have a user guidance and online help which guides the customer to use the interface smoothly. The next one will be the type of user interfaces. Command language based interfaces, menu based interfaces, and direct manipulation interfaces. So now let us discuss these in detail one by one. The first one will be a command based interface, which means the name itself declares that here the commands are most frequently used for using an interface. In this, the commands play a vital role for using this interface. The user is expected to frame the appropriate commands in the language and type them in appropriately wherever they are required. The user should be able to use those commands. A simple command language based interface might simply assign unique names to the different commands. Among the three categories of interfaces, a command language interface allows for most efficient command procedure requiring minimal typing. A command language based interface can be implemented even on cheap alphanumeric terminals. Also, a command language based interface is easier to develop when compared to the menu based or direct manipulation interface. A command language based interface suffers from several drawbacks. There might be some errors, or usually a command language interface are difficult to learn that requires a user interface to memorize a set of primitive commands. Almost most of the users make errors while formulating commands in the command language and also while typing them. Further, in a command language based interface, all the interactions with the system is through a keyboard and cannot take the advantage of effective interaction devices such as mouse. Obviously, for a casual and inexperienced users, this command language interface is difficult to use and also it is not suitable for use. There are some issues in designing a command language based interface. Now let us discuss those issues. The first one will be a designer has to decide what command names to be used for different commands. A designer has to decide whether the users will be allowed to redefine the command names to suit their own preferences. A designer has to decide whether it should be possible to compose primitive commands to form more complex commands. So these are the issues that are raised in designing a command language based interface. The second type of interface is a menu based interface. An important advantage of this main menu based interface is that over the command line compared to the command language interface, the menu based interface does not require or it does not ask any of the users to remember either the commands or exact syntax of the command. The menu-based interface is based on the recognition of command names rather than recollection. A menu-based user interface will be slower than a command language-based interface because an experienced user can type fast and can get speed advantage by composing different primitive commands to express complex commands. Composing commands in a menu-based interface is not at all possible. The following are some of the techniques that are available to structure a large number of menu items. Scrolling menu. When a full choice list cannot be displayed, the user can scroll the menu and reach to the items that are required. This would enable a user to view and select the menu items that cannot accommodate on the screen. Walking menu. Walking menu is very commonly used as to structure a large collection of menu items. In this technique, when a menu item is selected, it causes further menu items to be displayed adjacent to it in the submenu. Hierarchical menu. In this technique, the menu items are organized in a hierarchy of tree structure. Selecting a menu item that causes the current menu display to be replaced by an appropriate submenu. Next one will be the direct manipulation interface, which is a third type of interface. The direct manipulation interface presents the interface to the user in the form of visual modes. For this reason, the direct manipulation interfaces are sometimes called as iconic interfaces. The most important advantage of this iconic interface is that it includes the fact that the icons can be recognized by the user very easily and that icons are language independent. Now let us see the fundamentals of a component based GUI development. GUI refers to graphical user interface. The graphical user interface became popular in 1980s. Until 1980s, there is no graphical user interface. One of the first computers to support the graphical user based applications was Apple Macintosh computer. The current style of user interface development is composed based on it. So now let us see the window management system, that is how a window is managed on an interface. Most modern graphical user interfaces are developed using some window systems. A window system can generate displays through a set of windows. Since a window is the basic entity in such a graphical user interface, we need to first discuss what exactly a window is. First of all, now let us see what is window. A window is a rectangular area on a screen. A window can be considered to be a virtual screen in this sense that it provides the interface to the user. A window can be divided into two parts, client part, non-client part. The client area makes up the whole of the window except for the borders and scroll bars. The client area is an area available for the client application for display. A non-client part of the window determines the look and the feel of a window. The look and the feel defines the basic behavior for all the windows such as creating, moving, resizing, iconifying of the windows. A window manager is responsible for managing and maintaining the non-client area of a window. So now let us see about the component-based development. The development style based on the widgets is called a component-based graphical user interface development style. There are several important advantages of using this widget-based design style. One of the most important reasons to use this widget as building blocks is because they help users to learn the interface fast. As it is attractive and eye-catchy and having icons in it, the user can easily understand what the interface is and he can use the interface effectively. In this style of development, the user interface for different applications are built from the same basic components. Therefore, the user can extend his knowledge to the behavior of the standard components from one application to the other. Also, the component-based user interface development style reduces the application programmer's work significantly as he is more to the user interface component integrator than a programmer in traditional sense. Till now we have discussed what is a widget, where are they used on a window and all. Now let us see what are the different types of widgets that we are going to use on an interface. Label widget. A label widget does nothing except to display a label. That is, it does not have any other interaction capabilities with the user as it is non-sensitive to mouse clicks. A label widget is often used as a part of other widgets. Finally, we can say that this label widget is only used to display a label for a content. Container widget. These widgets do not stand by themselves but exist merely on contain other widgets. That is, these are dependent widgets. Other widgets are created as children of the container widget. When the container widget is moved or resized, the children widget also get moved or resized. A container widget has no callback routines associated with it. The next one will be the pop-up menu. These are transistent and task specific. The top-up menu appears upon pressing the mouse button irrespective of the mouse position. Next one will be the pull down menu. There are more permanent in general. You have to move the cursor to a specific location and pull down this type of menu. Dialog boxes. We often see different dialog boxes in different situations. These dialog boxes select multiple items from a selection list. A dialog box remains visible until explicitly dismissed by the user. A dialog box can include areas for entering text as well as values. If an apply command is supported in a dialog box, the newly entered values will be reflected. If you dismiss the dialog box, no changes will be observed. Generally, these boxes ask you to read the information presented and then click OK or dismiss. The next one will be the push button. The push button will contain only the keywords or pictures that describes the action that is triggered when you activate the button. Usually, the action related to push button occurs immediately when you click the push button unless it contains an ellipsis. The push button with an ellipse generally indicates that another dialog box will appear. The next one will be the radio button. As we are all familiar of this radio buttons in forms, here even in the user interface also, a set of radio buttons are used when only one option has to be selected out of multiple. A radio button is a hollow circle followed by the text that is describing the option it stands for. When a radio button is selected, it appears filled and the previously selected radio button from the group is unselected. Only one radio button from a group can be selected at a time. This operation is similar to that band selection buttons that were available in old radio buttons. Combo boxes. This combo boxes looks like a button until the user interacts with it. When the user presses or clicks this button, the combo box displays a menu of items to choose from. Normally, a combo box is used to display either one or many choices. When the space is limited, the number of choices is large, or when the menu items are computed at a runtime. So that's all for today's class. Thank you.